Good morning, children. Let's continue with the chapter power sharing. Today we are going to discuss the different forms of power sharing. As we know, for a long time it was believed that all power of the government must reside in one person or group of persons. That means if a ruler or the dictator or a king, all the power was vested in one person or a group of people, which means a bureaucracy related with the king. It was felt that if the power to decide dispersed, if the power to decide is dispersed, means it is scattered or divided among the different persons, it would not be possible to take quick decisions and enforce them. If several persons are engaged in power or engaged in decision making, it will take much time. That was the belief of the people earlier. But these notions have changed with the emergence of democracy. When democracy started or democracy was established, this all concept was completely changed. One basic principle of democracy is that people are the source of all political power. As we know, in democracy, all power is vested in people. So people have the power to elect a ruler and even remove a ruler. So in democracy, people are supreme. In a democracy, people rule themselves through institutions of self-government. We know we elect our own members or our own leaders, our own representatives. They rule us. That is democracy. In a good democratic government, due respect is given to diverse groups and views that exist in a society. All people in the society are given equal importance, equality, whatever their caste or creed or different ethnic communities coexist in a democracy together. Everyone has a voice in the shaping of public policies. So everyone has a word to say there. In a democracy, every person is allowed to speak or express his opinion in democracy. Therefore, it follows that in a democracy, political power should be distributed among as many citizens as possible, not concentrated in one person or a group of people. Everybody has, all the citizens have equal importance. In modern democracies, power sharing arrangements can take many forms. Different forms are there. We will discuss here four important different arrangements in a democracy. First of all, power is shared among different organs of the government, such as legislature, executive and judiciary. These are the three organs of the government. Especially in our country, we know that these three organs function together. Let's call this form of power sharing is horizontal distribution of power, because it allows different organs of the government placed at the same level to exercise different powers. Three organs of the government we have in democracy. So this is called the horizontal distribution of powers. Such as separation ensures that none of the organs can exercise unlimited powers. Each of the organs have limited powers. No organ has unlimited powers. Each organ checks the others also. What the one organ, for example, what the legislature does, executive check them. What are the duties of the executive are checked by the judiciary too. So here this results in a balance of power among various institutions. Last year we have studied that in a democracy, even though ministers and government officials exercise power, they are responsible to the parliament or state assemblies. In the center, whatever the works are done by the ministers are checked by the parliament, and in the state it is the responsibility of the state assemblies. Similarly, although judges are appointed by the executive, they can check the functioning of the executive or laws made by the legislatures. So judiciary has an upper hand. Judiciary always checks that what are the works done by the legislature, or what are the laws made by the legislature, so which is fit for the people or not. Also the work of the executive are checked by the judiciary. So this type of arrangement is called a system of checks and balances, which means each organ of the government coexist together and they check others what other organ of the government does. Now coming to the second point, power can be shared among governments at different levels. It is mainly in a federal type of system it works out. We know that as a general government for the entire country and a government at the provincial or regional level, which means such as a general government for the entire country, usually it is called a federal government. In India, we can explain our example of our country. In India, we refer to it as the central or the union government. That means one government at the center, which is called the central government or the union government, which functions for the entire nation, entire country. The governments at the provincial or the regional level are called different names in different countries. In India, we call this as the state government. As we know that under the central government, there are many states in our country. Each state has its own government and elected representatives. This is the regional or provincial government. This system is not followed in all the countries a similar way. There are differences. There are many countries where there are no provincial or state government. Some of the countries do not have a provincial or a state government or this regional government. And there are many countries where these are the no provincial or the state governments exist. But in those countries like India, ours, where there are different levels of government, the constitution clearly lays down the powers of the different levels of the government, which means what are the power of the central government and state government. There are many differences. Okay, state government also are empowered to form or to make new laws according to their customs and traditions followed in the different states. So this is what they did in Belgium, but it was refused in Sri Lanka. We know that in Belgium the government was formed, three types of government was there: central government, state government, and there was also a community government also in Belgium, but it was denied completely in Sri Lanka. As we know that they followed majoritarianism. All the majority people or the majority party formed their government, neglecting the minority. So this is called a federal division of power, where power is divided between the central government and the state government. The same principle can be extended to the level of government lower than the state government, such as municipality and panchayat. We know that in our country, panchayati raj system is established, so that local level or the smaller level we have districts, and below the districts block panchayats are there, and again the smaller unit gram panchayats. So different levels of the local government also is possible and allowed to function in the such kind of a federal government. So let us call division of powers involving higher and lower levels: central government, state governments, and the panchayati raj system. This division of powers involving higher and lower level government, this is called the vertical division of power. So what is the horizontal division of power, which is divided power is divided among three different organs. Now vertical division means the power is divided between the higher authority or the lower authority, or the higher level and the lower level. Now coming to the third point is power may also be shared among different social groups, such as the religious and linguistic groups. We know that in our country there are many religions followed by the people, and also there are different linguistic groups. So many languages are there. So far 22 languages are recognized as the in our country. So here this is followed in this type of different social groups. Power is shared among the different social groups. We can find in the Belgium community government. It's a good example. In some countries there are constitutional and legal arrangements whereby socially weaker sections and women are represented in the legislatures and administration. It is our country is the best example that some regions are some constitutions are separately reserved for women and so weaker sections. We know that women constitutions are there. Some of the constitutions are particularly considered for the SC constitutions or ST constitutions, like that it is divided in our country. So that is the best example. The last year we studied the system of reserved constituencies in assemblies and parliament in our country. So previous class we have studied how these arrangements in our country are done. So this type of government is meant to give space for the government in the administration in the diverse social groups. So what happens here, different social groups are there. So this type of division of the constituencies like SC constituency, ST constituency or women constituency, so that all the social groups get equal importance, equal participation in the lawmaking or government. So otherwise what happens, these social groups or weaker sections will be alienated from the government. They will be separated because they are a minority. Minority also is given participation in the government formation in our country. So this is another method of power sharing among the different social groups. So this method is used to give minority community is also a fair sharing power. Equal to the majority, minorities are also given importance and a right to form the government. Now coming to the fourth system, power sharing arrangements can also be seen in the way of political parties, pressure groups and different movements. Now we can find that they can control or influence those in power. When the power, political parties, now we know that when the ruling governments policies are not fit for the people, opposition party oppose them. Okay, so that this also work out in another form of power sharing. Opposition parties also have a place in the parliament or in the functioning of the government. In a democracy, the citizens must have freedom to choose any various contenders or for power. In contemporary democracies, this takes the form of a competition among different parties. There are not only one party, as we have studied in China. There is only one party, Communist Party. People are forced to give a vote to the same party only. There are no right for whether they support or oppose. They have no other option. But in our country there are many options. People, if we cannot follow the agenda or policies of the one particular party, we can select another party. Or if we are not satisfied with any parties, we have right to form new party also. That is the importance of democracy in our country. So here different parties are there. Such competition ensures that power does not remain in one hand or one person, so that it can be dispersed or power can be divided among the different organs. In the long run, power is shared among the different political parties that represent different ideologies and social groups. We know that sometimes this kind of sharing can be direct when two or more parties form an alliance. We know there are nowadays in India, modern day in India, no single party gets the majority. Okay, so that they create an alliance. For example, in Maharashtra, we can say that there are many parties, Congress or BJP or Shiv Sena, different parties are there, but no single party secured majority for ruling the government. So there was a collaboration, or the many parties came together, or 2-3 parties came together to form the government. We know that Maharashtra Congress, the ruling party government is earlier it was BJP government, single party secured majority, and they formed a government. But right now there are no single party secured majority, so that Congress and the Shiv Sena joined together. They made an alliance and formed a government which is called a coalition government. Sometimes we know that this also there is if a different ideology. These two parties have different ideologies, so that sometimes in between there may be differences in the opinions of this in functioning. There will be some collapse also. Government can be collapsed also sometimes, but sometimes it can work for the entire period also. So these are the 4 different forms of power sharing in a democracy, and in democracy we have studied.